Hello, this is Eddie Marcus again. I thought I want to take a moment and talk with you about some things that I'm constantly throwing at you. I'm throwing at you about how death and life are so intertwined. I say that life dependence is based on one's giving up on the fear of death. In other words, a person does what a person knows is right to do, and the fear of death is nothing crossed their minds. And I say that because as long as you are fearful and you don't want to die, and you know, the truth of the matter is none of us really want to die, and we'll do anything we possibly can to keep on living, even though we know that one day we are going to die. We try to even resist that as best we possibly can. And then to speak about freedom, and freedom being connected with one's willingness to say, my freedom is more important than my life, my living in this body, and be willing to give up the living in this body. Well, in order to be able to do that, you must have somebody freak yourself out one way or another. Some people say, well, there's a God, and they believe that God is in control of their lives, and that heaven is being constantly connected with God, and they're in this world, and they're doing what's right, they're standing up for what's right, and they feel at peace whenever they might be going against the odds, when they might be going against the norm, when they might be going against tradition, but they are doing what they know in their own spirit is right. And they still have the protection of God with them, in comfort in what they're doing. And they do this even if their lives are threatened, they accept that. And if death comes upon them, they don't care. That's just a part of the process to some people. Then other people have other ideas about how that thing goes. And based upon how you have your ideas about that thing, it usually governs how you give your response to it here. Now for me, you know, I can't tell anybody how to do that. I mean, that comes from God, you and God. I can imagine what it was like when Malcolm X standing doing what he knew in his own spirit was right, and was being taught as he was going forward the correct way to go. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, somebody comes up and pops him and takes his life. Yet it was nothing that was strange, for he anticipated it, knowing, as those before him knew, that this world has no place for that kind of truth. I can imagine what it was like when Gandhi, who had committed so much of his life for a particular cause, for his people, for his belief and understanding about what life value is all about. And out of the blue, somebody came up and snapped his life out. Woo! I can imagine what it was like with Dr. Martin Luther King, doing everything he possibly can, and his own people started riots to fight against his nonviolent way of doing things. I can imagine what it was like for him when a bullet took his life on that balcony in Memphis that day. Woo! I can imagine what it was like when Jesus Christ was taken to that cross, nailed up there. Woo! Because he was good. All of this because you're good. Now what does that say? That says that this world has nothing, no place for those who are good. Now, there are a lot of what we call good people here on this planet, but they are restricted, their goodness, by their coming against that boundary of we'll kill you if you want to come across this line, and they're not going to cross that line, so they can't really serve God, because to serve God, the real God, the one that is the author of life, you got to walk across that line. That's the difference between trying to play like you know God and knowing God. You know God, you walk across that line. I gotta go. Bye-bye.